Okay, let's move on to Falcons -2.5 in Tennessee. Total set at 35.5. Absolutely disgusting, but I love it. Titans 50% of the bets, 63% of the money, 13% sharp differential. They're fitting into that 17-4 ATS trend, and it's another one that I'm not going to fade that trend. I love it. I love the Titans here. The Titans suck everywhere else other than in Tennessee. We have Vrabel as a home dog against a Falcons team that's coming off a win, and people are going to be heavy on them. I think you're going to see a lot more bets come in on the Falcons throughout the rest of the week. I think this is a really tough matchup for them in a team that, like, the only thing good about the Titans is sometimes their rush defense, and now they're coming up a team that can only run the ball because Desmond Ridder, he just turns it over so much, and it's not winning or doing any justice for this Falcons team. So I love the Titans here.
Ridder has looked better passing the ball than he did at the beginning of the season. Not saying
I'll give you that.
By his standard. So like I'm not saying he's not a good passer of the ball.
No, I agree with you.
By his standard, he has looked improved. And you can see by like the fantasy impact of Drake London and Kyle Pitts the last couple weeks too. They finally went from fantasy bust to actually, at least I won't
relevant.
Say fantasy great, but fantasy
relevant.
Relevant. They're relevant.
I completely agree with you. However, he still makes terrible mental mistakes. There was a play where they could have put the game away where he ran into the end zone. I don't know if you watched all the games. Ran into the end zone alone, and then a defender came out of nowhere, knocked the ball, went back for a touchback, and they almost, I think who were they playing? The Bucs. The Bucs almost came back and won and covered. Yet the Falcons thankfully pulled it out on defense. I think this team is waiting to blow up in certain spots, and this is a great spot to back Vrabel at home. Like, it's just play the numbers and back one of the best home dog coaches there is.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I watched because I was big on the Bucs and I shit on the Falcons so much. Just what scares me now. But I feel like the Falcons are just kind of putting themselves in this purgatory as a franchise where they should be trying to maybe get a quarterback. And I think they're just going to see themselves in this middle ground because the offense is good enough from a running perspective that they're going to win games, or they're going to get stuck in this middle ground where they're stuck with Desmond Ridder as a super mid quarterback, and they're not going to be able to actually upgrade it by having a shitty season. I thought the Bijan Robinson stuff was pretty weak on their side too. That was really shitty. But should be all systems go against the Tennessee side here that is trying to fire sale their defense and potentially offense too. We'll see what happens. I would circle this as a teaser leg too, but I don't want to pair it with the Packers. I like the Packers leg a lot more than betting on one side in this one. This just 35.5 is so fucking low, bro. This is like a Big Ten game.
Low.
This is like a Big Ten West game, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're getting Iowa here. I mean, 75%
seriously.
of the bets and 92% of the money on the under still. This is one of those ones where it's like it's almost too low for me. I know that I think there's a crazy trend out there. It's like 20-5 or 21-5 to totals to the under when totals are below 37. And you and I love backing unders this low, but I don't know.
I love low unders.
The Falcons' offense can break out, as can the Titans, if people can't stop Derrick Henry and Tannehill decides to have a good game. So if you get good weather conditions, this game could total at 50. And I'm not saying I'd back the over here, but I think the Titans might be a 2 or 3 unit play for me. I love them in this spot.
Are you locking it in on the pod?
I'll lock them in for a unit. Yeah, for sure. Give me the plus.
Give
3.
Give it to me.
Yeah, I love them here. Official play. I didn't have any official plays last week, and I went 12 for 13 on spread. So maybe this is a bad trend.
It definitely goes against your typical methodology that you preach of waiting until right before kickoff. But there is still, first of all, what's the fun of doing all that all the time? But second of all, there is still value to be had on a Thursday.
Especially if the line drops to 2.5 and then it stays at 2.5 the rest of the week. Like, getting the 3 there is key, as 3 is by far the most key number there is in football or in the NFL.
I think that's a good call because it is 2.5 in some spots and then 3 in others. So we'll give you the 3 there for a unit, and we'll see if you put another one on it coming up on Sunday.
Hell yeah. This episode comes out every Friday, and talk about the unique public betting trends that only we talk about and have. So thank you guys for tuning in and listening. And as always, let us know on Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, now that we post these to YouTube, what your comments are, what you think, if you want to hear things differently. But yeah, thanks for listening to us blabber about sports, and we'll see you next week when we talk about our wins. Right, Andy?
For sure. And be sure to check out our new UFC podcast, Pilsners and Prelims. You can catch myself and Rick on that podcast, releasing every Wednesday whenever there's a UFC card. So we had a preview out for UFC 294. Nothing this week because there's no UFC card, but we will have the UFC Sao Paulo card coming out on Wednesday. So take some of these winnings from NFL and start to get ready to put them on the UFC fight night that's going to be in Brazil. It should be a lot of fun. And Rick and I our Sundays and Mondays are overloaded now with research since we record on Tuesday. So can't wait to hear y'all's reactions to that. I know a lot of people have been asking us for MMA content. Where had the UFC write-ups gone? Where has this been for UFC? Because we had a pretty big UFC presence last year and early this year. But we are back in podcast form. Be sure to find us on wherever you listen to your podcast, as well as on YouTube. Subscribe to Happy Hour Sports on YouTube. Hopefully you guys are watching us on YouTube right now, because I think DJ and I are both having a great hair day. So be sure to check us out. Subscribe on YouTube. Give us a like. Give us any feedback you got. And last but not least, the boys bet better with beer.